All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. What up, my fantasy podcast peeps? Missed you guys. It's been a long time. We've had a whole fantasy football championship go down since the last time we met. And we got the whole crew, well, a lot of the crew here assembled today to recap the football season for you and just talk about how it all went down. We're at the Super Bowl now, and so we're going to talk about how we got to the Super Bowl and the rough roads we took to get to the Super Bowl, specifically what happened in New Orleans this past weekend. But I got myself, Brandon Reed, my co-host Dan Shaw. How's it been, Dan?
Busy and household chalk. Just constantly chugging away. Still pushing out a lot of content on MFST. I don't know if you've been catching my mid-major college basketball previews daily. I know you were all about that. Let's see, which one did I write? Maybe Mississippi Valley State. Were you watching that game that I wrote about the other day, Brandon?
I'm there anytime Scott Hitchin is playing a ball game. I'm there.
Canisius game tomorrow against Monmouth. Big one. Scott Hitchin, X Factor. Brandon, Scott Hitchin. So yeah, I mean, it's just been busy. I'm glad we can get together and hop on a podcast. Right before Super Bowl, and not only can we hop on a podcast, but anytime we have the one who takes over, Ryan Thomas, join us. I mean, can life get better, Brandon? Can life get better?
Absolutely not. And pre-show, I asked Dan a dumb question. I said, "You got snow on the ground?" And Dan laughed and was like, "Oh yeah." So to keep that Buffalo weather theme going on, we got another Buffalo native there, TT Thomas Take. Ryan Thomas, what up?
What's up, guys? I feel like it's been a while. How's everybody doing?
It has been a while. It actually has been a while.
It feels like it's been a long time. Yeah, I was thinking the other day, I was like, when was the last time I was on with these guys? It's been a bit, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, it is. My fantasy podcast back and rolling in the 1-9. So hang on. Who could be calling me right now? Gee, we're in the middle of a podcast. Hello. Fran, how's it going, Fran? Oh, man, we're in the middle of recording right now. I'm sorry you didn't get the invite. No, I got Thomas Take on. We really don't have room for you on today's show. Catch you next time? Okay, yeah, Ryan Thomas Take. Yeah, Okay, all right, thanks, Fran. Yeah, we'll get you back on the schedule real soon, buddy. We'll talk to you around March Madness time. Okay, all right, bye-bye. Fran Fischilla. And so I guess I'll allow it acceptance for Fran, but we just don't have time in the rundown today. We got Thomas Take. We've got a special shout out to send to our fantasy football champion. It's none of us guys on this podcast, but it's someone you guys know from following my fantasy podcast. So we've got that to talk about, wrap up the NFL season. And talk about the Super Bowl, maybe on the back end, talk about some guys have coming up on future My Fantasy podcast in the 1-9, early in the 1-9 2019, be Brendan Griffin. Brendan Griffin reached out to us and said, "Hey, man, I'm high flying all over the place. Need to have a podcast soon." So we said, "Okay, you the champ." So we'll get you back on. Damian Parsons, we had a podcast with him and not too long ago. We'll get him back on. And Dan, I don't know. So here we are at the Super Bowl. Them dead gum Patriots are back in it. And we had Damian Parson, who is a big Patriots guy. He's a Patriots fan. And even he didn't believe a month ago. So, I mean, how do we get to this point every single year that Tom Brady and the Patriots are in the Super Bowl?
I think you just need to start to listen to me more, Brandon. I mean, not to go there, but I went there. And, what is that? What is going on? I was just eating some bowl. What is that? I don't even know what that is.
In honor of Ryan Thomas being on the podcast.
Oh wow!
Bring out some Captain Crunch.
As long as it's Frosted Flakes, because Tom Brady refuses to eat Frosted Flakes. I don't know if you knew that, but he said that's on his diet, that he would not do that. So you can chomp away while I predict the Patriots in the Super Bowl every year.
Whatever you were talking about, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as I predict the Patriots in the Super Bowl every year, I remember Brandon and Ryan, I'll talk to you. So Ryan Thomas, Brandon and I were talking before the game on Sunday between the Patriots and Chiefs. I don't know if you saw this, but I'm pretty sure Brandon guaranteed a double-digit victory by Kansas City. What do you think about that?
I would never go as far as to say that the other team would beat New England by double digits. I'm sorry, B. Reed. I'm sorry, but I gotta side with Dan on this one.
Was I wrong? Was I wrong for doing that?
I think yes. You're wrong.
I've been on a lot of podcasts, and if I had known that was frowned upon, then maybe I wouldn't have done it. But sorry.
I mean, would I have preferred, if you're asking me in a perfect world, what my preference would be if the New England Patriots lost by double digits, that would have been nice. I would have approved. I would have approved for sure.
No, I did not think even Damian Parsons, the Patriots fan he is, did not think that they were near the best team in football and going into the playoffs. And I still believe this. I don't think this is by far the best talent-wise Patriots team that they've had. They've just navigated the circumstances, and here they are. But I really don't think the field in general, I don't think this year there was a lot of really good teams. There's a lot more in the NFC than the AFC, in my opinion. I just don't think the AFC was really good this year traditionally from what it has been.
But that's the thing you have to look at with the Patriots. People need to stop hating on them so much and just look at the pure brilliance that they are. Because you're right, Brandon. They're getting it done without the most talent that they've had. They're not as talented as they once were. But the way they're able to game plan, I said halfway through the game, or actually after the first quarter on our MFST message boards, how Bill Belichick's game plan was absolutely brilliant. The way he coached that game, the way Josh McDaniels ran that offense and threw in that game plan against the Kansas City defense was brilliant, and that's what ultimately won them the game. And obviously defensively with Brian Flores and different guys, stopping Mahomes in that first half was critical. They wouldn't have won without that. But people need to appreciate what the Patriots are. They're not going to be the most talented, but in terms of having a matchup one-on-one with another team, New England is always going to have an edge because they have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady on that team. And the way they game plan and prepare before the game is what ultimately wins them the game each week.
Well, can I suggest something else also, though, to throw into that? Because it does take players, and they drafted a hell of a player, moved up to get him, Ryan Thomas's own Sonny Michel. And I think he's been a difference maker. He was a difference maker Sunday. And if without him, I'm not sure that they do what they do. I mean, you got to have studs eventually, and he is one of them.
Well, great teams always know where they're at. They always know what direction they're trending towards, and I haven't seen any of Tom Brady's skills taper off. We have seen some throws kind of, the Pittsburgh game where they're kind of running down into the red zone and he's throwing it into the crowd, practically into the crowd, over-exaggerating here. But Tom Brady had shown some chinks in his armor, and knowing that he's got that running back to depend on, not just one running back, he's got two running backs to depend on, three running backs to depend on. They all complement each other very well. They might not be the best team to be in a Super Bowl in quite a while on paper, but they're the best coached. They know what they can get out of their players. They enforce the do your job mentality where they have all these players fit a certain role, and they relish that role. They harness that role, and they take it because they trust the coaches, because they have this 20-year pedigree. We're never going to see a franchise. I certainly hope not. We're never going to see a franchise run the league for 20 years, despite all the controversy and everything that they had the draft picks taken away. They've been picking in the bottom four of the draft practically the last 20 years.
Well, I think it was magic, though. I mean, for a combination of Brady and Belichick caliber Hall of Fame, world class coach and greatest possible quarterback ever to meet together for a 20-year period like this. I mean, that takes magic. This is what it is.
Right. And I mean, the Peter Kings of Sports Illustrated and some of the big name analysts out there will say that they've largely benefited from the division that they've played in. They call it the AFC least. And I would agree with that. I mean, obviously Buffalo hasn't been good in a long time. The Jets have kind of had their trials and tribulations, and then Miami, one year they're 8-8, the next year they're 4-12. So I definitely agree with that, but I think people do need to kind of quote unquote slow their roll and give the Patriots the credit that they deserve. You don't see a team in this position every single year by sheer coincidence. Everything has fallen into place for them, sure, but they've taken it and they just beat a really good, albeit one-dimensional Kansas City Chiefs team.
And I'm past that point of giving them their their credit deserved. I'm just past that point now. Like you said, it's been 20 years. I don't want to see them in the Super Bowl anymore. I mean, okay, but yeah, they're great. They're navigating the AFC, particularly the AFC East, every single year. But I would rather the Rams and Jared Goff win the Super Bowl this year. I would have rather Philadelphia won last year, man, because Tom Brady has his. I don't really care about this mounting dynasty and getting Tom Brady 8-10 rings. I'm past the point of this now. And I really would have loved to see the Super Bowl I wanted would have been probably New Orleans, Kansas City, but I would have really loved a rematch of that Kansas City and Rams game that we saw whenever that was, October, whenever. Just that shootout, that incredible game. That to me would have been the best Super Bowl matchup. I don't know, but we're here, and this is where we're at. And New England is back in the Super Bowl. Guys, I got a message to read real quick. Before we move on and really talk about the Super Bowl and the matchup and everything that happened Sunday and wrap up the NFL season, I got a message here. MFST crew, it feels so good to be called champ. You guys rock, just not like I do. I'll tell you what, this win is thanks to Judy and baby Colton. I couldn't do it without them, and thanks to Colton's 2 a.m. wake-up calls, I was able to hit the waiver wire in a timely fashion and do some research. For all the hate I got for our trade, Dan, I think it worked out for both of us. There's not been a week. There's not been even a deal. There's not been a more even deal in the history of the league. And to beat both MFP, My Fantasy Podcast guys, you and Brandon, I feel validated with my ship and that it's a legitimate title. What I want to know, when I win the basketball league, will you change MFST to Pertins? Just kidding. Love it. Looking forward to our continued smack talking. You guys are the best, no doubt, from your champ and owner, Nick Pertins. Nick Pertins navigated both me and Dan in the semifinals and myself at the championship game, and won the MFST Fantasy Football League despite being fleeced, according to all the MFST guys in that trade, where it ended up where he traded David Johnson to Dan, and Dan traded away at least Kenyon Drake, Doug Martin, and someone else I don't remember. But just so happens that those guys were enough to beat Dan, Chalk, and myself. So a magical run for Nick Pertins. Going to be something to remember, and I guess it was fitting that he beat both of us and ran straight through both of us. So going to be a lot of smack talk from Nick here for the next year, and well-deserved.
Yeah. I mean, I think he kind of shocked both of us, and we've debated it even after the fact, Nick, on your win. And you just had a consistent team all year. You didn't have those highs and lows. It was just consistent, and your wide receiver depth and your tight end play, which Brandon doesn't like to look at tight ends. Him and his Anthony Firkser roster ownage. People are like, who the heck is Anthony Firkser? Just look it up later. But Pertins, the way he was able to maneuver his team, I guess was impressive. And yeah, I mean, we had that deal happen earlier in the year, and who would have thought that Doug Martin would be the savior in those final 2 weeks? I'd maybe not necessarily the semifinals against me, although our 0.5 or 1.5 scoring margin, Doug Martin did eclipse that. So Dougie Martin helped you bring home a ship. I'm proud of the Pertins with the baby being born, I think, in the middle of the season. I guess he was your good luck charm. So does that mean in baseball, all leagues are mine, because I'm going to have a baby girl born during baseball season. So, hey, I'm looking forward to it. I hope that luck rubs off on me. So congrats, Nick. Well deserved.
Hey, what did I tell you guys though about the path that Nick took? I think when you're up, especially in football, when you're sitting at the top, I'm just going to take myself as an example. When I had the lowest priority in the waiver wire every single week, I was not getting any of these guys, and that's how I won my title the first year in MFST, because I was by far not the best team. I think I slipped in as like a wild card, 5-6 seed, but I was my record was at the point where throughout the season I was able to snag some of these key waiver wire guys that played big roles at the end of the season. And you can't always sit on these top guys because, as I found out, guess what? Todd Gurley didn't play in the championship week for me. And a lot of these top guys are like that. So you got to find these waiver wire pickups throughout the season and build your team. And that's what happened with Nick Pertins. He was able to pick up key waiver wire guys throughout the course of the year, staying about midway in the pack in the standings and getting some key guys. And then, by the time the last couple of weeks of the season rolled around, guess what? He's got the hottest team. Maybe not the biggest star power, but the hottest team. And that's just how it works sometimes. Where do you fit in that, Ryan? What's your strategy?
He fits in that consolation ladder. That one below us. You got to scroll down a little bit.
I fit in the no comment, but I'll comment anyway. Can we throw that out there?
Go ahead.
No comment / comment. So
that's got to be some soggy cereal, Brandon. I just have to say that. I mean, that's been sitting there for a while.
Captain Crunch got all the natural preservatives.
Oh yeah, that's what you want. Yeah.
So shout out to the champ, Nick Pertins. Congratulations on your victory. It is well deserved. To do what I would have called, had I accomplished the same feat, I would have called it the Thomas Take Trifecta, which would have been me making it to the finals, beating Dan Schalk here and or Brandon Reed in the process. That's what I would have called it. You did it before I did, so the cat's out of the bag. I can't call it that now because I didn't do it yet. Keyword is yet. 2019, I'm taking some notes. I'm going to be more prepared. Fourth year instead of third? That's the charm. We'll just leave it at that. I had some good moves, some bad moves.
You're regressing, Brian. You're regressing.
For the reasons that Nick Pertins won were the reasons that I lost. It's not the fact that for the reasons that Nick Pertins won, as we were saying, he made solid waiver moves. He had guys that maybe not even didn't get just hurt, but got hurt and or came back and weren't performing, or they just weren't performing right out of the gate, where he made moves to kind of cut ties with those guys, where somewhat to my detriment, obviously, I held on to those guys too long. I hoped that lightning would strike at some point, and it unfortunately never did. Well, by the time I realized it didn't, it was too late.
That's kind of ironic because one of the guys that Nick Pertins had at the end of the season, although he didn't play him in the championship week against me, was one of the guys that I held on for what I thought was too long when everybody's bashing me, and that's Robbie Anderson of the Jets. And then the final week, although he was on Nick's bench, he had 27. If I would have held on to Robbie Anderson and continued playing him as my flex or second wide receiver, then I would have had a better shot at beating Nick. You never know, though. Right. So that was just kind of an ironic twist of fate. But Nick is the champ. MFP, My Fantasy Pertins, coming your way in the 1 night. Get used to it. Dan's got his MFST shirt. We debuted in the Advocare Invitational in Orlando on.
I gotta get me one of those.
Yep, $100, Ryan. Send it my way, and you'll get one.
Yeah, we need to trade the apparel here. I'm rocking the Memphis State. I don't know.
Did you see that Memphis basketball victory over the weekend with the throwback unis?
No, get the hell out of here! I missed that. Of course, I saw it, Dan Schalk. Whooped the snot out of FSU by 30. But yeah, we must. I'm gonna try to propose this. We must wear the throwbacks against Cincinnati and UCF. Anybody key that we have coming up here in the FedEx Forum, we must wear the throwbacks against. Been good luck. So, but anyway, congrats, Nick, for real. It's been a while since Christmas, I guess, since you won. We just hadn't got together, but sincerely, congratulations. I'm not mad at all, because your name is not Dan Schalk. And so a 4-1 title count would have been unbearable. Just unbearable.
Still 3-1, though. 3-1.
It is, but baseball I really don't give a flip about. It took you 3 years to win that one, which is
I'll scratch my back with 4 fingers this baseball season.
I want in on the baseball. I'm ready to.
I don't know where you've been. I mean, you should have been playing baseball.
Yes, I should have been. I don't know why I wasn't either, but
I made the championship, Ryan, and I watched 0 innings of baseball this year, and that's not a lie.
I'll just draft a whole Red Sox team, and I'll be fine.
You do that.
So, all right. So back to the NFL and the way it ended up. New Orleans got screwed.
Yeah. Safe to say. Yeah.
Did y'all see they replayed that? Someone replayed that scenario in Madden, and the refs called it pass interference.
The key with that, the whole thing, just watching it over again. The season, you watch so many games a year. Dan's a diehard Dallas fan. You like the Titans. I like the Bills, obviously. We try to follow our teams as much as we can, but in the process, we do see other games, the Thursday night, the Sunday night, the Monday night. And the calls per game, it's almost as if they make up the rules as they go along. Certain calls in one game in the AFC Championship would go to one team, and certain calls. And I hate to sound like I call it the old geezer take because I sound like the old guy at the barbershop in the morning saying, the calls, the refs are so awful, but they truly are. It's not even a matter of what if or anything like that. They're that bad. There needs to be.
That's got to be reviewable. That particular thing, I don't know how you do it logistically, but you better figure it out because that has got to be reviewable. Because I understand in real time, bang, bang. Okay, maybe. But if you watch the slow down instant replay, ain't no question. I mean, he nailed him. That was clear pass interference, not even close. The defender wasn't even looking at the ball. He saw the receiver get ready, to make a catch motion, and he plowed him. It wasn't even close.
And obviously, I'm not saying this because of what transpired with the New England Kansas City game, but I think they really need to look at evaluating the overtime rule. Leave it the way it is for the regular season, but I would propose that they have it different in the AFC NFC championship. Have it to be where, there's the coin toss still. Whoever wins the coin toss, they get first possession of the ball. If that team goes down the field and scores a touchdown, the other team does have a chance to match that touchdown. And if they do match that touchdown, then the first team to kick a field goal wins the game. But
I'm all for playing let's say a 10-minute quarter, and then after you play a 10-minute quarter, next score wins.
Right. That's how I'd see it too. But I think that they have thought of that, but maybe due to like advertising or other reasons, they just decide, no, we need this game to last only this long. It can't last longer than that.
But like you were saying, when you get down to AFC, NFC championships, come on. I mean, we need it to be right.
Right. You need the right results, and forever. I mean, this is history. Every year of a football season that passes, the last year is history, and we can look at this a year from now and say that the Patriots beat the Rams, or the Rams beat the Patriots, but they'll always be, the Rams shouldn't have even been in this game.
I had a feeling, and I think I wrote this on our predictions. I wouldn't have been surprised if the Rams, because the Rams are a good football team. Their defense just fell apart somewhere through the season, but they were probably the best team in the NFC all along. It's just New Orleans was just on fire. And I just kind of always felt like the Rams were the best team. It had Swiss cheese defense in the middle of the season. But when you talk about playoffs, the whole different ball game. And I just had a feeling that was going to turn around.
And oddly enough, too, like you think of it in that way, we only think of that one call. But New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken, won that coin toss and Drew Brees threw an interception. So it's kind of like, it sucks that call happened that led the game to go into overtime, essentially. But it stinks even more that they won't change it. I mean, I remember talking about this very topic on previous podcasts before. For whatever reason, it just doesn't get fixed. They try to change the rule ever so slightly with certain circumstances. Obviously, the Dez catch was a huge debate a couple years ago, and I really don't think that solved anything.
I think that got better this year because they weren't taking very long to look at these ridiculous bobbles when players were hitting the ground. I mean, it became a lot more clear. Yeah, that's a catch, and that's the way it should have always been. So kudos to the NFL for getting that more right this year because I was very impressed with that. They weren't taking time to even look at it and overanalyze. That was the whole problem. They were overanalyzing catches based on technology that wasn't available 20 years ago. So if it was a catch 25 years ago, it should be a catch today. Let's not overthink it.
Right. And I mean, saying that my thing is saying that one thing got fixed. That's great. But why isn't everything getting fixed? That's and I know it's easier said than done, but at the same time, we have so much technology, we have so many angles, we have so many ways to view a play or view a hit. There were hits that, I mean, Pat Mahomes took some hard shots in that Patriots game that just blew me away. The fact that he not only would get back up to his feet, but no penalty. My guy, my quarterback on my team, Josh Allen this year, albeit he's a rookie and he ran around a lot, but there were moments where he would throw the ball and he'd backpedal and watch the pass, and he'd just get clocked, and there would be no penalty. So I don't want to say there's favoritism or anything like that, but there's definitely reasons why people could throw out that narrative, throw out that notion.
So, Dan, 2 questions. Does the NFL have anything to immediately fix going into next year as far as rule changes or things to look at? And number 2, are you drinking sour apple Kool-Aid from a peppermint straw?
Huh?
What were you drinking?
It's H2O. It's just in a.
I'll get green. Okay.
It's clear. Or straight vodka. So maybe that's the one too.
It looked like a green substance. Okay, just checking. Just
Cool.
want to know your preference. We lost the foodie segment on the podcast, so just thought I'd get your flavor of the day.
Yeah. What was the original question? Something about
the real question. What was the real question? Should there be anything that the NFL should look at or change going into next year immediately?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you're going to always see that the following year after something terrible like this happens. I mean, you look at the Des catch, they changed the catch rule after that in the offseason. So I think you're going to see whether it be pass interference or some type of something become reviewable to be able to rectify this situation. So, yeah, I think competition committee in the offseason will definitely implement something. It'll probably be terrible in the first year where, the officials probably won't even know how to officiate it, and then it'll get changed again the following year and then start to, work itself out. But, yeah, I think you're going to see something, implemented for next season.
So let's nail this down right now. What kind of Super Bowl are we going to get, and who are you picking right now? Exclusive pick for the My Fantasy Podcast peeps at home, Dan.
So we're talking the game, obviously, not my betting picks, because I just placed a couple prop bets.
I know that'll be all over the place. Yeah, I'm not talking about I'm talking about who you.
Just let me get your advice real quick.
Okay.
Real quick. How many songs is Maroon 5 going to sing at halftime? Over under 3.5.
Based on the halftime, based on the way they do these halftime shows, it's going to be over because they don't sing whole songs. They sing snippets of songs, so they could damn well sing 11 or 12. I mean, it depends on what you're considering a song. I think they're going to sing, a minute and a half snippet of a song, and that's. I don't know. I need more clarification. I need to know what kind.
That's all the clarification you get, Ryan.
But I'm going to say over.
I think they're going to sing 5 songs because they're
so that'd be over.
5.
Over.
Yep.
That's what I bet. I bet big. I usually do one big bet every year for the Super Bowl, and that was my big bet. And I bet over 2. So I like where that's going.
It's got to be. No one sings the whole song.
I was shocked at 3.5. I was.
Yeah. I think
What are the chances that Janet Jackson makes a guest appearance at this year's Super Bowl halftime show?
0. But you know what the prop bet was? Who's going to make his special appearance? Kylie Jenner. Big odds. It was like every $1 you bet, you get $12. That's huge. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think she's going to come up on stage. What do you think?
I heard
you open for a Kylie appearance?
I heard a name that I forgot who it was last week. Regardless, I don't really care.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the game. Brandon only cares about the games. I guess you don't even care about the commercials either, Brandon.
Hey, nobody's beating Katy Perry flying in on a big lion or whatever she came in on.
It's true.
Okay. Prince was all-time great. When it started raining and he was doing Purple Rain, you're not getting better than that. Period. I don't care who you are. You have 50 more.
Tom Petty, rest in peace.
Yeah, I like some Tom Petty.
Tom Petty's good, but you're not beating Prince in the rain. I mean, he could have got electrocuted. I mean, that was.
R.I.P.
That was great. And then I loved Katy Perry flying in a thing. That was awesome.
U2 was good. It was the year after the season that 9/11 happened. That was
the way TV is now in entertainment, though, it's got to be these young acts that can do exactly what I was talking about, sing several rapid songs. You know, you really don't need like a traditional classic rock band out there who is, you know, Mojo is going to be sing these, you know, classic songs. You need up tempo. Like, what was it? Timberlake who was on there last year? Somebody was just like
Timberlake, I think. Yeah.
Gaga was last year.
They were all over the place. You know, just Timberlake was on there too, wasn't he?
He may have made an appearance. Yeah.
He was all over the place. I mean, you know, dancing on platform to platform. And I think that's what you're going to have to look at going in the future, because it has to be an entertainment, and technology dictates some of that too, because you got all these rapid sets, all these, you know, different, you know, tricks and camera tricks and lighting and just props that you can use. That I think that's what you'll see as a trend going forward, is just somebody who can do a lot in a rapid, quick period of time. So, anyway, but yeah, I don't care about that. Let's talk about football.
A little sidetrack. Sorry.
Yeah, football. Are you going to go with the old man to go ahead and do it?
Yeah, so I'm going to watch the point spread right now. It started at -1 in favor of the Patriots, and now it's the -2.5 for the Patriots. Either way, it's going to be a very close game. If you look at the Patriots' history of all of their Super Bowls, they've all been within single digits. I think they've all been within 6 or 8 points. So it's going to be a single possession game. But yeah, I'm going to have the Patriots coming out on top. Listen, Jared Goff is great, but if Sean McVay is not in his ear telling him the audibles at the line of scrimmage of what he's exactly seeing, if something happens, if it's noise related, if it's microphone related, you never know. Weird things like that happen at the Super Bowl. The lights went out, a few years ago. So
I've kind of become a believer though, and I owe Jared Goff many apologies because. Yes, because going into New Orleans and that crowd, the Super Bowl crowd is not going to be as loud as the New Orleans crowd. It's impossible. They were yelling and screaming throughout TV timeouts.
Whistle man, there was a whistle guy with a whistle.
Yeah, I know that was throwing me off a lot. But anyway, the way Goff handled that, then I think he passes the test right there. For them not to just get blown out and for him to really look bad, then I'm sorry. Okay, kid, you're ready.
I'll preface all of this by saying I was wrong last year with Nick Foles, but I don't think Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl. I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and I'm gonna stand by that. So
he may not have to. He's got 2 studs in the backfield now.
Yeah, but I'm ultimately, which defense to me is playing better at this moment? I think it's the Patriots over the Rams. And the way the Patriots have stopped the run in the playoffs has been very impressive to me. And if you can stop the run, and Jared Goff throws play action, I think it was like 78% of the time, and he's very successful at it. If you can stop that play action where those safeties are going to bite, those linebackers are going to bite. If you can stop that, then I don't think the Rams are going to win that game.
I don't know which way I'm going. At this point, I'm so all in on anti-Tom Brady and the Patriots that I'm going to go with the Rams. And now the Patriots may be the hotter defense right now, but they're not the better defense. And like I said, when it comes to playoff time, I think the Rams have kind of turned it around. So man, I'm just riding with the Rams at this point. Man, I like their offense. They got a dynamic offense. The emergence of C.J. Anderson on his 3rd team on the year, 3rd or 4th. He's come back like a little bowling ball. I like what they got going on, and that's what I'm going to be rooting for. Just like I was rooting for Atlanta, and just like I was rooting for Philadelphia, because Tom Brady has his rings. I'm ready for him to ride off in the sunset.
Hater. You're nothing but a Tom Brady, Marcus Mariota hater.
Call me what you want, but I've seen that show before. Hey, Michael Jordan not everyone loved Michael Jordan. People were sick of seeing Michael Jordan after the first three-peat and was glad he retired to play baseball. I mean, it just happens. It's nothing personal against Tom Brady. I'll tell you that he's the GOAT, but I don't care anything about seeing New England win another Super Bowl. Been there, done that. It'd be much more of a story for the Rams in their 2nd year in L.A. After the return to L.A., win a Super Bowl. With a 2nd-year quarterback, to me, that's a big story. I would rather see that. I would have rather seen New Orleans win the Super Bowl and Drew Brees. I really would have rather seen the rookie MVP Pat Mahomes win the Super Bowl, but that ain't gonna happen. So
he's not a rookie.
Technically, he was. It was his first real year. He get jumped right into the fire and succeeded with 50 TDs. So, Ryan, at this point, who are you picking?
Oh, I'm going to go with New England, but I want to really dive into this. Okay, so I think that this matchup will be close. As Dan said, I do see this as a one-possession game. There were moments during the Saints game where Jared Goff would come out, run out on the field, and look like a world beater. And then there were moments where he would come out and he would look a little bit hesitant, a little bit timid, throwing balls, way over guys' heads or throwing balls at guys' feet. So I hope that this isn't a game where the pressure gets to Jared Goff. I hope this is a game that is competitive, that is as advertised as it should be, as any Patriots Super Bowl, as Dan mentioned, is usually within one possession. I think the biggest takeaway, though, that I have as to why I think this will be a close game is due to the fact that the Rams have the pass rushers to get to Tom Brady. The Super Bowls where Tom Brady didn't look that great or had trouble in were against those New York Giants teams where they got to him. They hit him, they moved him out of the pocket, made him move and do his thing. That was when he had a slight ounce of athletic ability. Now,
I was about to say,
despite the fact that he's 42 and he's still playing real well, or 41 or however old he is, this guy has no athletic ability whatsoever. I've never seen a quarterback play so well for as long as he's played without being able to, dodge or move around. And that's in today's game. A lot of teams. You look at all the teams that have done well these last couple years. They all have guys that are athletic that can extend plays. Tom Brady is so smart. He gets the ball out of his hands so quick that it makes up the fact that he is the greatest quarterback ever, but the most non-athletic quarterback as well. If the Rams pressure him, blitz all day long, obviously one of two things could happen. They could hit him, force him out of the pocket, force him to make mistakes, or he will just carve them up like a Thanksgiving turkey in February.
My prediction is he won't play the whole game, Dan.
Oh, God. He won't play the whole game. You are, Tom Brady would not like you if you ever met him. So there's that. But here's the thing, Ryan.
He was the best ever.
No, not you, Brandon, because Brandon always talks about injuries and how he's not going to last. Every year his prediction is Tom Brady won't make it through 16 games, and Tom Brady makes it through 16 games. So anyways, Ryan, you answered your own question within that thing. If you're mentioning the Rams pass rushers, but you also said Tom Brady's release is so quick. They can't get to him if he just throws it in 1.6 seconds every time he gets it. And I want Julian Edelman matched up with Marcus Peters, and he's going to tear apart Marcus Peters, who cannot, for some reason, cover man-to-man anymore. He gets burned more than anybody I've seen in football, and analytically, I want to see his Pro Football Focus grade this year because it's going to be terrible. And if Julian Edelman is matched up on him, it's going to be a long day because it's just going to be quick slants or a fake slant and go out. And Tom Brady is just they're not going to be able to get to him in time, even if there was no blockers there. So I'm not worried about it.
But the point that I didn't really touch on is I think the only way that they can get to Tom Brady is if they force New England to pass. The MVP of that offense that's made Brady look great this playoff is Sony Michel. If they can stop the run, which they've been known to do sometimes, they've been inconsistent at it, obviously, as is any, sometimes defenses in the season have their peaks and flows. But if they can stop the run and force Tom Brady to throw the ball over 50 times a game, Tom Brady's won games like that before, but he's also lost games like that before on the big stage. So I think that anything is possible, but if it came down to it, I'm not going to pick against the Patriots because they're coaching. I feel the experience advantage. I always, whether it's combat sports or football, I always go with the guy that's more experienced over the young up-and-comer. Donald Cerrone fought Alexander Hernandez. I look at Alexander Hernandez as the Rams and Donald Cerrone as the Patriots. I always pick experience over youth.
There you go. Some wise words right there. And now you know. So what's going on the Thomas Take podcast? Ryan, what you got coming down the pipe?
A lot is going on in the process of, building it and making it better each and every year. I realized the other day that it was the 3-year anniversary of the show. So I'm promoting the YouTube channel, tweeting a lot, interacting with football fans, fantasy football players, fantasy baseball players, and really giving people a forum to not just listen to my opinion on sports, but to give others a voice as well, allow themselves to comment, interact with each other. Whether they agree with me or disagree, I enjoy the conversation of the podcast, what conversation it creates. And along the way, I've been able, this last year and a half, I've been a part of some real great public live events. As Dan knows, I was at the Walden Galleria Mall. I did a live show with a few sports podcast guys, a few guys that work in Buffalo media here, which was really, really cool. And it was all for charity. So it was great to give back to the local community. And that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. I want to give people a voice to interact with me. Obviously, I want to let my voice be heard too. But if I can do it in a way that it benefits other people, what is better than that?
Hey, Dan, this is me in a nutshell. Help. I'm in a nutshell. How did I get in this nutshell? Let me out. Dan.
No, that's it.
What's going on myfantasysportstalk.com? Other than your basketball previews, got to check those out daily because it happens daily. Malachi David's got some nice stuff coming out with some sports memorabilia breaks, spotlights, and entertainment. A lot of stuff.
Yeah. Malachi bringing out sports breaks and kind of a whole sports memorabilia weekly series that he's going to be bringing out. That's great. Our boy Orlando Torres, just you wake up on a refreshed after a holiday break. Like I had a 4-day weekend for Martin Luther King Day, and Orlando is over here plopping a 2,500 word article on my desk, and it's like, whoa, Orlando, okay, you're coming in hot. I just got off of vacation, but I'll edit it. All right, man. All right, I will.
It was extensive. Yes, it was.
Please, I mean, read that because damn, it was impressive. Orlando, love you, buddy. But a little warning before you drop that on me, just first thing. Okay, all right, man. All right, so there's that. So go ahead. And yeah, I mean, Canisius still covering them and all the college basketball. March Madness obviously coming up. In the entertainment section going on. But back to Malachi's sports memorabilia breaks.
He's giving away sports memorabilia as part of this.
What?
He's giving away sports memorabilia as part of this. He's having giveaways.
He is. And it's made me – you ever get the itch of where you just want to add to your collection? Obviously, I have stuff. This is barely anything, but I have probably like 50 mini helmets and I'm a collector, so I like it. So this weekend during my 4-day weekend, I got a little tipsy one night, and I just started bidding on a whole bunch of sports memorabilia stuff. And now it's coming back to bite me because I'm just getting all these emails every morning. Congratulations, the auction is over. You won. And I didn't expect to spend as much money as I spent.
And I'm guessing none of it was baby stuff either.
No, but I can say it's for the baby's inheritance.
I don't know if Marissa's going to go for that, but
let's just hope she doesn't watch the end of this show.
Oops. Sorry about that.
Keep it on the down low. But yeah, I'm hoping she does not watch the end or watch it at all. That's fine. You other guys can. But yeah, so that's me. That's me in a nutshell.
Did I say that in a nutshell?
You did. You did. And all I could think about was Austin Powers. That's the only thing that came.
Great trilogy. Trilogy.
So all that stuff going on. We will have Brendan Griffin coming up on a My Fantasy podcast episode real soon because he's itching at that. Big things going on with the High Flyer BG. We'll have Damian Parson back on from the Damian and Jeremy show real soon. We want you guys to continue to send or start an influx of fantasy basketball questions so we can get right back in that. We've made several trades go down in the last couple of weeks in our myfantasysportstalk.com fantasy basketball league. So we want to get in the big heavy swing of that, and just check out the website daily, My Fantasy Podcast, or myfantasysportstalk.com. And thanks for checking out the podcast. So Ryan Thomas, thanks for joining us again. We'll have to get you back real soon.
Yeah, definitely. A lot sooner than last time. Everything's crazy. Everything's going on. A lot of MMA stuff coming out on my podcast page, the Thomas Take Sports Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, at Ryan Thomas Take. Feel free to follow me on there. I love interacting with all the sports fans from around the country, around the world. Crazy what social media can do.
Don't even tell me you're going to eat that cereal. That's soggy as hell right now, man. That's a super soggy bite. Oh, that's going to be gross. It's like eating.
My Dan Chalk on Brandon Reed.
Soggy, man. Soggy.
That's what champs do.
They like soggy milk and cereal? Gross. Yes. I like some crisp. I need a crunch.
We'll cut it right here. See ya.